Hi, I'm John Arnold and welcome to today's video from the 7-Minute Life. You're going to learn in this video today some concrete things that you need to do if you want to live into your highest potential, and if you're in a business environment, how you can channel the energies of your team so that you start realizing higher profits, higher sales, because you got everybody on the same page using their highest and best use of their time. And if you missed it, a couple days ago, I shot another video and I shared it with folks, and the response, I've been blown away. I thank you first off for some of you have sent. I open up my inbox and bam, bam, bam. You know, there's these letters with people with great questions about, well, what do I need to do now? I understood the problem you presented, but what do I need to do about it? And I'm going to answer your questions in today's video. For those of you who missed the last video, we were talking about, let's say, you know, you're here at point A and your highest potential is Z. That's where you'd really like to be, where life is, you know, at its best. And a lot of people find themselves, rather than going on a direct path to Z, they find themselves, it's as if they have one foot nailed down, and when they try to walk forward, they do this. They go around in circles because that one foot's stuck. Today, we're going to show you exactly how to pull that nail up with an easy free resource. It takes you a few minutes a day. Over here, this map is a map of what looks like in a business environment where you have a team leader who they see and understand where the company needs to go or where their division needs to go, but they're struggling because their team members are, you know, erratically kind of jerking forward very ineffectively. And what happens is that, you know, they're moving in some direction, but it's not a common direction, and they hit at a result that is much below what you would like to achieve as a company. And this, what I'm going to share with you, is absolutely critical, because we're going to show you how to get rid of these zigzags. Every zig and every zag costs a company money. Because every time an employee is chasing after busy work or distraction or something that is not directly a part of the path to your highest goals, they are failing to meet the customer's needs as quickly as they can, and they're costing the company money. So this training will help you, help you funnel that energy for higher profits, higher sales. So what do we want this picture to look like, and how do we get there? We want to do away with cycling, and we want everyone getting on this path as quickly and rapidly and as strongly as we possibly can. Let's start with what to do about getting rid of this spiraling. The best tool that I know that you can use to identify how you're wasting time, how you're cycling and not moving forward, is what we call the 15-minute time increment sheet. Now, let's pretend for a moment you are looking at your finances and you're overspending. You're living beyond your means. What would be the first thing a financial manager would tell you to do? The first thing they'd tell you to do is track how you're spending your money. Let's find out where it's going. Well, that's what you do with a 15-minute time increment sheet. You have a little sheet. You can download it from our site. I'll leave directions below this video or a link so you can download it right here. But on one side, it has your day broken up in increments, and it has slot for the activity that you're doing. Now, this is not a planning sheet. It's a record of how you actually spend your time. Not how you intend to. You know, we have one idea when we go in the office, and then we find at the end of the day we lived very differently than what we intended. This is where you're going to record in 15-minute increments what you did during the day. Now, here's a little secret sauce that I've never heard anybody tell folks to do this, but it makes all the difference in the world for not only getting that nail pulled up out of your foot, but helping you move forward. I want you to take that timesheet and just try this for even a handful of days. I think you'll see results. And when you get done at the end of the day, I want you to put a check mark by any 15-minute time increment that actually helped you move toward your results. I think you're going to be surprised at what you find. Maybe you won't. Maybe you already have a gut suspicion of how your time's being spent. But whenever I've done this, I find that surprisingly few things can I check. Now, if you'll do this for even a handful of days, I can all but guarantee you it's going to do two things that will transform how you use your time. First, it's going to create what we call conscious awareness, which is critical to changing your behavior. It's going to make you painfully aware of just how much time and activity you spend on busy work that doesn't yield results. The other thing is, as you check mark those things that do yield results, you're going to position them more and more in the forefront of your mind as high value activity, and you will begin to instinctively resist the low value activity and start choosing high value activity. So it will, just by recording it, it will begin to push a change in your behavior. So, okay, we've pulled the nail out, you're doing that timesheet, you're not cycling. What about getting the energies of your team members all together in your business so that you can move forward effectively and create higher profit, higher sales? Well, there are two keys that you need in order to get them on that path in an invested manner. The first is this: you have to really understand the strengths of the team members. Now, when I say strengths, I don't just mean what they can do well. You know, sometimes people can do something really well, but they're not passionate about it, and it's not the best work style for them. When I say strengths, I mean, you know, the things that people love to do and they're in line with how they work best. There are a lot of different tools that you can use to evaluate and identify those pretty clearly. I've done tons of them. The Myers-Briggs, I've done DISC, I've done temperament analysis. The tool that we have found to be the most effective is a tool called the Path Element Profile. It's by Laurie Beth Jones. If you just will Google that, Path Element Profile, it's a very inexpensive tool that by answering, like, I think it's only like 16 questions, it will give you a very clear picture of someone's strengths, their best work style, and you'll know what makes them tick when it comes to work. So once you've identified their strengths, their profile, you have to know how to communicate. And there's two elements of communication. One of them that it's where people miss it usually as team leaders. The obvious one is you have to communicate the path and the compelling vision of what your goals are, right? That seems pretty obvious. You have to communicate this path and the destination in a clear and compelling manner. What most people fail to do when they're in leadership is, if they don't understand what makes their employees tick, they don't communicate in a way that motivates them. So, the critical element of communication here is learning how to communicate in a way that resonates with this person's strength and their work style. And each one of your members is going to be different about that. And if you can do that, if you can interpret the vision, the mission of the company in a way that connects with the work style of your different team members, I'm telling you, you'll hardly be able to keep them from off that path. And it's just common sense. When somebody is able to work in a way that fits with their passions and their giftedness, and they see results, that's exciting, that's invigorating. And when they start achieving things, they like being a part of something bigger than themselves. So just to recap real quickly, you got to know how you're spending time and pull that nail out so you can shift from low value to high value activity. You have to understand what makes your team members tick and communicate the path and the destination in a way that resonates with their values. Now, before that sounds overwhelming, if you use something like a tool like the Path Element Profiles, there's only 4 profiles, okay? So it's not like just because you have 100 employees in your business, or 10 employees, or 3 employees, you only need to know how to communicate in 4 ways. So don't get overwhelmed by the idea of this. Um, I want to wrap this up. I want to keep this video short. It's been really awesome sharing this training with you, and I hope whether you're an individual trying to seek your highest potential and frustrated because you don't feel like you're moving forward, I hope this has really been helpful. If you're a team member or you're a leader, I hope you can see how you can channel the energy with just a few simple tools. And we've used these tools with thousands of people, and what I can tell you is they yield results, and in dramatic ways. Long before I realized this, I stumbled into doing it before I learned it in a conscious way through Allyson. I want to share with you a really quick story about how powerful this can be. I was on a nonprofit board, and we built houses for folks who were in inadequate housing. And the board that I was on initially, if we were to map it, it would make that chaotic mess on the first page look orderly. We were all over the map, so much so that it took us 2 years, over 2 years, to renovate a house for somebody who was in need right then. That was exhausting and exasperating to everybody. I put into place these tools of recognizing people's gifts, getting them on their path with their gifts, and it was astounding what happened. We went from taking 2 years to renovate a house to, I put up before them a compelling vision of building a house in just 7 days. And they did it. They absolutely crushed it, and they did it. And the key was we found out the strengths. We had a clear and compelling vision for them of what to shoot for and communicated it in a way where they could connect with that path rapidly. And the rush of achieving that, of standing there and handing over the key to a new homeowner who we went from a foundation to a roof. We went from a foundation to a roofed lockable shell in the first day, and then we spent the other 6 days finishing the house out. It was astounding, and it reset the whole barometer of that organization to where in a couple years they had gone to completely nothing but new builds, and they were killing it in terms of pumping out these houses. I mean, what would that look like in your business if you had that kind of transformation where everybody was pulling together? I mean, how valuable would that be to you if you could get that kind of success, or in your own life, you know, where you're really in your highest potential? I want to wrap up with this. I said earlier, this lesson came out of some personal notes of Allyson that she let me share with you for a course that she's preparing. It's been awesome sharing it with you. But we want, for those people who want to go deeper on this, they want to do more, we want to be able to offer you some really granular training. And there's been something that we've had on our back burner of the 7-Minute Life for a while called the 7-Minute Life University, where we're going to have a whole mess of classes that you can pick from, courses you can pick from. But for a variety of reasons, we've kind of held back on releasing that. But people want and need this training. So what we've decided to do is we're going to go ahead and pull the trigger on releasing the first course. Now, what's radically different about this than any other training than we've done before is you're going to be in a very small group of people with Allyson directly in an online classroom. Now, I'm not talking about a webinar where there's 400 people in there and you're putting stuff, you know, you're typing in a chat bar. We're creating an online classroom where Allyson will be with 10 people at a time, and that's it. In this first offering, we're only going to let 20 people in, so it's going to be, you know, incredibly limited as to the initial people who will be in this. And it's going to be as if Allyson were to come and sit down in your office with 9 other people and share this kind of training, but you would be able to interact with her directly with just that handful of people, getting direct answers to your specific time management struggles and how they connect with this. so that you can go from scattered and cycling to skyrocketing in productivity, skyrocketing in sales and profit. And we share these tools again and again, and they just keep producing results. So we'll give you all the details about what will be in that first course in just a few days. But in short, there are going to be 7 classes delivered through the online classroom. We're going to do an introduction to time management so that we can get you on a solid foundation about what is good time management practice versus ineffective time management practices. Because there are some things out there that people are doing and that are taught commonly for time management that actually may be keeping you stuck and you don't know it. We want to identify that stuff really early on, get you a solid foundation, and recognize how do you know what your potential is and live into that. And then what we'll do is we'll move from there into, there's a whole unit on goals, which is super exciting because we've taught people that you need goals and you need action steps. I looked at Allyson's notes on this that she's prepared, and she has 4 interim steps and worksheets to help people with those steps I've never seen before. But people in this class are going to get that, and it's going to help you absolutely nail the action steps you need to get here and change your company or change your life. We're also going to share with you the brain science, and now nobody go to sleep on me when I say that because it sounds a little nerdy, but this is really critical information. We're going to teach you the brain science behind behavioral change so that you can understand how to, the strategies that actually will re-hardwire your brain, if you will, so that you naturally and intuitively cannot help but be on this direct path. The other thing that you'll learn in that are the psychological and the physical, the emotional benefits of great time management, because it will, when you learn this stuff, it will reduce your stress, it will drop your anxiety, which all of that will affect your physical health. There are some very dramatic changes that can happen in your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health if you just know how to manage your time right. We're going to talk about that in this class, or in one of the classes in the course. And gosh, that's just a thumbnail sketch. There's a ton of other things. Oh, I'll just mention one other, and that is we have a whole, this was a nugget out of one class that's all about understanding the strengths of your team and communicating with them. And we'll get really step-by-step, granular education on how to do what I was talking about here. I mean, that's what you do, what you need to do, and some of you, just hearing that, you'll be able to, grab this and go tomorrow with it. Some of you want somebody to, hold you by the hand a little bit and give you some concrete examples and answer your questions. Allyson will be able to do that in our online classroom. So there's a lot more to it than that, but this video is already longer than I want it to be. I hope, though, that you find it tremendously valuable. And I'd like to hear from you. If you have, or if you have questions, maybe there's something I ran over too quickly, please comment below. I'd love to know what category you're in. Is this where you are? You're trying to get to your potential? Are you a team member, a team leader, or a team member who's struggling with a group? What are your questions? Because Allyson's refining the rest of this course. Give us your questions so we can make this class be exactly what you need to be to get into your highest potential and higher profits. Well, that's all for now, and I look forward to seeing you in a new video. I hope, more importantly, that I'm going to get a chance to see you in the online classroom. Whether I do or don't, it's been a privilege and a pleasure to be able to share these things with you, and I'm wishing you the best of productivity for you today. Bye now. See you soon.